Welcome everyone to this exciting game as part of the Join Dota League between Rox.Kis and Cloud9. Cloud9 starting off very strong in their draft, picking up a Mirana, Naga, Siren, and Crystal Maiden, giving them an excellent set of mid-game and the option to go late, with Naga, Siren being both a support and carry depending upon how they want to run her. But Rox.Kis have picked up an amazing opening, grabbing the Ember Spirit and the Treant Protector already, one of the strongest combinations in the game at the moment. It gives them amazing power to push with the Ember Spirit Slide of Fist. It gives them great team fight because you can group up for an overgrowth, then land several Slide of Fists and the Fire Remnants for just insane amounts of area effect damage. And it makes Ember Spirit virtually impossible to kill in lane, as the Living Armor is such a strong buff. Rox.Kis pick up the Lich, giving them a very little crowd control overall, as the Treant Protector only really has crowd control in his ultimate. Ember Spirit has the chains, but that's not a huge crowd control ability. And Lich just has a slow and a mini stun. So the reliable CC on Rox.Kis is very limited at the moment. But Cloud9 go with the Timbersaw, one of their signature picks, using him as a great offlaner, and works very well in this combination, as it gives them looks to be a very strong tri-core with the Naga, Siren, Mirana, and Timbersaw, if that's how they choose to run him. Rox.Kis have picked up the Weaver, which will likely go in the safe lane, along with, it could be either Treant Protector and Lich tri-lane, or have the Lich run in the off lane, or as kind of a roamer, which we've seen him in his most effective role. He just kind of roams around, picks up the experience with the sacrifice, and helps out all the lanes as they need. And that's usually what Lich wants to do. He hasn't been picked up a whole lot, just due to the fact he doesn't bring a whole lot of support outside of just the pure lane power. And that's going to be really interesting to see how well he plays in this game, as he's not super effective. The illusions from Naga are going to be particularly effective at soaking up his ultimate, and he's pretty vulnerable to Timbersaw and a Mirana arrows. He's not the fastest character in the game. Rox.Kis likely need to ban out a support here. Banning out Earthshaker would be a good choice here, as we've seen Cloud9 run that really annoying Earthshaker where he blocks up the mid lane and basically just soaks up a bunch of experience from the jungle and basically makes your mid lane useless. But instead they decide to ban out the Rubik, which is not a terrible choice. Stealing the Living Armor or the Overgrowth and pretty much anything from the Weaver is a very strong support. Cloud9 going to be looking for a support as their last role, assuming the Naga Siren's mid, and at this point we pretty much have to, as I don't foresee them picking up a carry at this point, and they're going to let the Naga Siren head towards the mid lane and be incredibly strong, as she is one of the strongest carries at the moment, with just her ability to farm and be really annoying across the map. The only downside of Naga Siren in this game is she will likely be matched up against the Ember Spirit, and that's a matchup that definitely favors the Ember Spirit once the Ember Spirit hits level 2 or 3. The first few levels it's mostly just farming and a little bit of harassment. And based on the support so far, Crystal Maiden does not do a great job of ganking the Ember Spirit early on. Her movement speed's just way too low, unless she goes boots first, and most Crystal Maidens don't like to pick up the boots first. They generally like to pick up the stats and the support items. And there's the Earthshaker coming out from Cloud9. I really worry about this Ember Spirit pick now. As powerful as the Ember Spirit is, he can really fall off if he doesn't get off to a good start. And unless they do something about this Earthshaker blocking the mid lane like Cloud9 loves to do, I would be very worried if I were Rox.Kis, as the Ember Spirit's not going to get off to a great start. Though I don't see any of these heroes being able to deal particularly well with the Weaver. Crystal Maiden generally doesn't do that well. There's not a whole lot of lockdown for him, so he should be able to rotate around and move through the team fights pretty freely, assuming he doesn't just get blown up in that initial combo. But I just don't see enough to really burn through him like that. So Weaver's going to have to do a lot of carrying if this Ember Spirit doesn't get off to a good start. Rox.Kis need their off-laner at this point, unless the Weaver's off-lane, but I assume he's going to be carried based on how Rox.Kis have liked to play in the past. And based off their picks and bans, I got to say a Nyx would be a pretty good spot here. I would have said Centaur, but that was banned out in the last ban stage. Bounty Hunter would not be a terrible choice here. It would allow them to snowball pretty well. It would give him a great roamer. He doesn't do particularly well against Timbersaw, but he's good enough to rotate into the jungle, find the krills on Crystal Maiden, and it would be a great way to harass the Earthshaker if he tries to go for the mid pulls. It would just be an overall great idea to pick up a bounty hunter here. It's not really Rox.Kis' style, but instead they go Darkseer. And that could be a really deadly combination with the Treant Protector. Vacuum everyone into a huge overgrowth, and then let Ember Spirit with a Battle Fury rock your world. Ooh boy, that would be fun to see. And let's see if they can pull off this combo. As we do get into the game in just a moment, we're waiting for all the players to pick their characters and load in. Cloud9, Rox.Kis did have a DC during the draft, but it looks like they have been able to reconnect. And Cloud9 should be good to go in just a moment. As this is the Join Dota League, I'm Pander here, casting this wonderful game, and it should be pretty exciting, as both of these teams are the mid-tier 2 teams, mid to upper level tier 2. We see them a lot of the time, and they're all good. They're just not on that next level, like some of the top teams, like Alliance, Na'Vi, and EG at the moment. We do hop into the game, and it should be incredibly exciting. And there we go. Timber Spirit is going to take up the offlane at the moment, and it is going to be at least a duo lane down bottom, as the Mirana and Crystal Maiden are going to be duoing it up. They should be just fine, as it doesn't look like Rox.Kis is going to run any sort of aggressive tri-lane, and I don't think they have the heroes to do it. Tree is one of the worst offensive tri-lane characters in the game, and Lich is equally bad. Naga going to go take up the mid lane, going for the fast bottle build. You pick up the one branch for just that little bit of extra stats, and almost just luck at that point that you don't get a bad set of RNG on your hits and go down. Naga still scouting out. Rox.Kis going to be running, looks like a dual lane in the mid, which I definitely see going fairly well, as it gives the Ember Spirit a lot of extra experience. It means he's going to be playing fairly defensively, as I don't see him able to do a whole lot against Mirana. Darkseer in the off lane should be pretty safe. Crystal Maiden does do decently well against Darkseer in the first few levels. Same thing with Mirana, but Crystal Maiden not a great setup, as that Frostbite's not very long. It's only a second and a half, so unless the arrow's practically launched by the time by the time Crystal Maiden lands that Frostbite, it's not going to be particularly effective. Top lane, it's going to be the Weaver and Treant Protector. A pretty impossible to kill Weaver at this point, as that 1 point in living armor early on basically makes him impossible to kill. Between that and Sakuchi, good luck trying to kill him. And it will be Lich denying the bottom lane first, which is kind of surprising, seeing as they really do want to get the Ember Spirit off to a good start, and giving us some extra experience would not be terrible, as the sacrifice does give experience to all allies in the range, which definitely makes it a strong contender for a great level 1 ability. And Ember Spirit taking the Flame Guard, which is really surprising. Most Ember Spirits don't go for the Flame Guard until late, but it is pretty good against the Naga Siren. She doesn't have a whole lot of magic damage. Riptide does do a decent amount, so it will break the level 1 shield, but Naga can't spam that out at the first level. It's just not a good ability at level 1 and until she gets her bottle, which is on the way. Naga going to go to stack up the camp. So that means Earthshaker is going to be pulling, and he's already done the first pull, pulling the Ancient Dragons, and there's the ward. Are there sentries? I don't see sentries anywhere. So it's going to be Cloud9 not getting the stacks, which is a pretty good move there by Rox.Kis. And Lich is going to do some decent damage to the Earthshaker. Lich almost level 2. If he's level 2, I think he could fight this a bit better, as he would have that one ability, and that Frostblast does a good bit of damage at level 1. And it's just really annoying as well. The slow is incredibly powerful. Timbersaw on the top lane getting decent CS, and I don't think there's any way to really kill him. Lich won't rotate and do a whole lot. Treant doesn't do a whole lot at the first few levels, and he has that point in Timber Chain, so he's just going to run away. He's taking a lot of damage though. Leech Seed is up, so he's going to be slowed, but he should be able to Timber Chain his way to safety. Sakuchi just too long a cooldown at the first level, and that reactive armor kicking in. He's going to have to pop a salve, so it's great overall. But still, not a kill, and that's a win for Cloud9, as Weaver not farming that great at the moment, though he should be just fine, as none of the camps up top have been blocked at the moment. Ember Spirit and the Lich have rotated, trying to stop this pull, but so far it's been ineffective. And it's definitely showing in terms of levels. Ember Spirit, level 2.5, Naga, almost 4. And that's going to be rather huge as this game progresses, as that's a lot of extra levels. Timbersaw going to rotate around and run out, but he gets down to the bottom of the river, And he's still in a lot of trouble. Weaver does come in, getting a great position to jump up, but Timbersaw got a Timber Chain away. Envy safe yet again. Great choice to pick up the early magic stick, because there's going to be a lot of spells and abilities used. Likely at least 1 or 2 living armors, a leech seed, and the Sakuchi. So he's going to get a lot of charges, and that's a lot of free health, considering the fact he already gets a ton from the reactive armor. Mirana farming great in the bottom lane. As she should, as there's no real fight here. The thing I'm worried about is Crystal Maiden not picking up that much in terms of levels. She hasn't gone into the jungle. In general, you see Aoi rotating into the jungle as much as he can, just picking up all the little advantages. And that's what makes him a very solid support. But this game he's just stacked up the camp, so he should be good to go in just a moment. It is a Crystal Maiden, so she really does have a lot of trouble last hitting, as her last hitting, or as her auto attack animation is incredibly poor. Naga Siren still doing well in the mid lane. Ember Spirit has caught up a little bit, but he's still well behind, as he's already lost 2 full minion waves, soon to lose the 3rd, as the Earthshaker just pulls yet again. And in the next game is a best of 2. Well, not really a best of 2, just 2 games for points. They're going to have to ban out this Earthshaker or find some way to deal with him. Timbersaw in a lot of trouble yet again, as he's taken very low. He does have a Timber Chain, but I don't think he's going to get out of this one. Weaver does have that Gemini attack, and the last hit just not enough. But there's the Sakuchi at easy first blood. Though Timbersaw did everything he could to try and stop it, he just can't defeat that duo too easily at this point. He really needed that 1 extra level. Another point in Timber Chains is just super effective. The extra speed, the extra range, or even another point in reactive armor. And he was about 1 creep away from picking it up. Lich has rotated into the jungle, trying to stop the pull. Surprised we haven't seen a ward placed in this area right here. If you block out that camp, you can easily stop the pulls, as they've already stopped the ancient pulling on the side of Rox.Kis. So that's an excellent ward there to prevent the pulls, but it doesn't matter that much as they're still pulling, and he's lost 3, possibly even more creep waves. And this Ember Spirit is just not in a good spot overall. Naga's almost 2 full levels up on him, considering he's shared experience. And he's gotten multiple waves denied. Darkseer not getting a whole lot out of this bottom lane, but will rotate up top. He hasn't died yet, which is pretty good at this point. And that's all you can really ask for the Darkseer, is not to die, pick up some good levels. And now that he has a Soul Ring, he should be able to jungle pretty effectively. Lich going to rotate around, but not find anyone. Let's check on the levels of this Earthshaker. He's almost level 3, which is not too bad, all things considered. And he's going to likely hit that off this pull as he pulls this wave yet again. That's going to be about 5 waves lost to this Earthshaker. And one of the reasons why Earthshaker is commonly banned against Cloud9. Timbersaw in a bit of trouble, but with that extra point in both reactive armor, he is going to go down. Really thought he could have gotten away there, but instead he just falls yet again. And that's a big win for Rox.Kis. Weaver farming decently well, not amazingly, but he has farmed well enough. And this game, he's going to have to be a real big force, because Ember Spirit is not off to a great start. He's only 25-5, which is better than the Naga Siren. But the experience is the real story here, is he's had to have the Lich in the lane with him to ensure that he doesn't get bullied around by the Naga Siren those first few levels. And if the Lich wasn't here, this would be an even bigger loss for the Ember Spirit, as he'd have had more creep waves denied, and he would have been very scared of moving forward. The denying on the Lich has really helped out the Ember Spirit, along with just harassing the Naga so she can't walk forward, burn the Ember Spirit down. Timbersaw in a lot of trouble, as Bone 7 is not played particularly well in this Timbersaw. There have been excellent ganks by Rox.Kis, but generally Bone 7's a lot better at surviving these. And there's Weaver just running right through the tower, but the minions are there. Naga Siren has hit level 6, maxed out the Riptide. She has picked up Sentry Wards. Not sure exactly where you want to place them, other than dewarding the Ancients, but that's not a huge thing. And it looks like Timbersaw going to fall again, being all 3 deaths of this game so far. And he has not been particularly effective. Generally, Timbersaws do pretty well in lanes like this, but giving all that extra gold to Weaver is just not something you can afford. And we have a kind of build variation here on the Weaver, as he's going for the Medallion of Courage. It's not something you generally see on Weavers, but on a Weaver that wants to push early and take early objectives, it's not a terrible item. It gives him the extra mana regen and does pretty well with the Ring of Basilius, so it gives him a lot of mana regen to just rotate around and use Sakuchi as often as he wants. It makes him pretty unkillable for the first few levels. And I like the decision. It's kind of different, as he doesn't want to go straight into something like a Linken's, and it's not particularly expensive, so it'll give him a lot of early combat strength. And Crystal Maiden takes the kill in the bottom lane of the tower. And the first tower of the game does head in Cloud9's favor, which will definitely help their golden experience out. But we're likely to see a gank in just a few moments, as Earthshaker is up here, going to not be able to get anything off. But this gank will be spotted off, though. Nice move here by the Earthshaker, just teleporting away. He felt something coming. This ward right here definitely, I don't know, could have seen him rotate in, but it's way too hard to tell. Because that's one of those wards that sometimes gives you vision, and sometimes it doesn't. It's hit or miss, but it's very hard to de-ward, as it's just not a super common spot, and it generally doesn't give enough vision to warrant de-warding a lot of the time, as it doesn't give a lot of vision over Roshan, or anyone rotating up into that bottom lane. Naga Siren slowly losing out in terms of minions at this point. She's only at 33 so far, while the Ember Spirit's already at 42, considering he's had multiple waves denied. That's very good. But Naga Siren has picked up the levels, which is really what you want. Ember Spirit has hit 6, and should be able to rotate around the map at this point. And that's going to be the real question of the game on the side of Rox.Kis. Can Solo rotate around and find a kill? I'm not sure he's going to with a Flame Guard build, as you generally want at least rank 3 of the Searing Chains. Searing Chains just add so much extra damage, especially at rank 3, as you add that full extra second in terms of duration, and it makes them so deadly in the ganks. Earthshaker going to be pulling up to the Ancients yet again, and that means another full creep wave is denied. Paladai doing a great job of just denying out all of these minions. I really wish there was a count to see how many melee creeps were denied to neutrals. But it's going to be Timbersaw likely going to fall again. But nice Timber Chains, but no way he's going to be able to stay alive. And that's going to be Weaver taking another kill. He's 3-0-1. And Timbersaw not off to a good start. Taking out the gold, it's pretty even. But the experience, pretty even as well, as Darkseer's not gotten a whole lot. And that tower gold definitely helping out. Overall, Cloud9 in a decent position. Naga pops the song, but not sure this is the brightest idea unless the arrow lands. And there's the arrow landing, but it doesn't do that much damage. Nice use of the Fissure to finish off the Ember Spirit. Weaver has come in, and there's the Chain Frost, but it's not going to get a good bounce, and it's not going to actually get a bounce at all. Weaver rotates in, does do some decent damage, but nice vision block, and that means Weaver's going to fall. Beautifully played by Mirana. She just went right behind the tree so Weaver couldn't get a good line of sight on her, and it bought enough time for her team to rotate in and seal the deal. That's an excellent awareness play. She could have just kept running and tried and save herself, but there was no way she was going to get out of that with a Weaver who already has max range of the Sakuchi. Weaver did pick up yet another kill, and it showed that Medallion definitely helped him survive in that last engagement. The 6 armor and the bonus damage being very crucial. The problem with going Medallion is you have to make use of it early, and it's not like a Linken's Sphere where it scales. And considering he's picked up the Ring of Cool and Magic Wand, he doesn't have that many more item slots. He basically has room for a teleport scroll and one more item. So it's a real big risk that has to pay off well for Rox.Kis. Their lineup can do pretty well in the early to mid portion of the game, but so far they've done decently well, but it's not enough. They're pretty much even in both regards. Up top, beautiful fissure block into an arrow. Darkseer goes down, and that is going to be Weaver jumping away with the time lapse. Excellent counter gank, thanks to the Mirana and Earthshaker. Earthshaker being a real critical factor this game. He's denied off thousands of gold so far. Crystal Maiden not going to be in any trouble, as the Ember Spirit didn't want to jump in there with the chains. He has gone with a max Flame Guard build. And so far, it has not paid off. The extra health and damage from it is not particularly effective. Weaver in a lot of trouble, does soak an arrow. And the question will be how long will he survive? He does survive for a good long time. Lich going to be jumping in onto the Earthshaker. Earthshaker likely to go down, but he's just going to teleport away and be perfectly fine. But no, Tree is there and steals the kill. Well done. And the big reason Tree has become popular as of late, living armor and overgrowth. Overgrowth 3 seconds and at almost 700 range CC. That is just insanely powerful for a level 1 ultimate. And living armor is just way too strong, as it blocks 80 damage on 7 hits. It is just nuts how strong it is, and it saved Weaver multiple times. And that's not even counting the regeneration it provides, which is really secondary in engagements like that, where it's going to be burned off pretty quickly. Weaver rotating in, looking to find someone in kind of the secret shop area, but Weaver is going to be stunned out, and no way he's going to go super deep for this. He's going to try to pick off the Earthshaker, and he's just a little short, but Sakuchi should be able to get the kill, and he does. There's the time lapse, bringing him far away. And between that and the living armor, he's going to be back at full health in just a few moments. Ember Spirit tried to dive in on Mirana, but Mirana just was able to leap away. And that's another big win for Rox.Kis. They've taken a good lead at this point, considering they're up in experience and their gold's pretty even. Considering all that was denied in the mid lane, that's a win for Rox.Kis. If this game goes late, it's going to be iffy who wins this, as the Naga Siren is going to have her Radiance online at any point right now, as she's just finished off the Relic. She's farming decently well, but as she is the highest in terms of net worth, trading it off with the Weaver at the moment. But that's not particularly great. In the mid lane, Lich is going to go down. Gets off a good Chain Frost, though, which does a lot of damage. The question is, will they be able to follow? And Ember Spirit not going to be in range, especially with the Moonlight Shadow, the most powerful part of the Mirana kit. And that is going to be a retreat by both sides. And there's a nice arrow. Treant Protector gonna go down. Beautifully played, CC. And there's the Earthshaker. Gonna get a nice ultimate off. But that's a Weaver, and Weaver's just time-lapsed out of pretty much all damage. Weaver's still gonna be chasing. Mirana has virtually no armor. She's gonna go down. Nice arrow, but it's not enough for the save. Ember Spirit 1 second on the bolas, but does not have that Sleight of Fist. And this is the big downside of not maxing the Sleight of Fist. Look at how much it goes down in terms of cooldown. 8 seconds for every rank is just nutso, is the best way to put that. And I have a feeling that's going to be the biggest nerf on Ember Spirit, is just making a Sleight of Fist not as spammable. Even a few extra seconds on every single hit is going to be pretty massive in lowering his DPS. Weaver comes in, throws out the bugs, but no big hits. And really risky move. He doesn't have time lapse up and goes down. Way too greedy of a play. Lich in a lot of trouble, but dodges the starfall from Mirana. Mirana going to be pursuing. 9 seconds on the arrow, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And there's a nice Searing Chains. Really making sure no one can progress. And Cloud9, Rox.Kis pretty much even overall. Rox.Kis with a slight experience lead. Cloud9 with a little bit of a gold lead, but either one of these teams can come out ahead at this point. And both teams are playing it a bit pub style, just fighting around the mid lane. As pretty much every single pub game I played, there's been at least about 10 minutes where we just kind of fought around the mid lane, trying to pick off heroes and find that middle tower. This definitely favors Cloud9 as soon as the Naga picks up the Radiance, and she just picked that up, as this will give Naga a huge farm advantage. Ember Spirit has picked up the drums, and Weaver going with an unconventional build, going with a Vanguard, meaning he does not have any more item slots. Really, he has to have room for a teleport scroll. And I don't like this Vanguard on Weaver. I don't like Vanguard on any ranged heroes, but Weaver especially, as he needs that damage in order to really get in there. Arrow does fly and lands along with a fissure. Weaver in a lot of trouble, but living armor is there, and no chance he goes down. That is just way too powerful of a combo at this point. And I don't think Weaver's going to be able to die. though it's not a great option. He's just damage starved at this point. He's going to have to go for a big damage item next. Desolator will be the item of choice, as he can land a hit or two with a Desolator, then the Ember Spirit follows it up. Arrow is off the mark, but a good attempt. But no significant damage is done. Lich going to be caught up by the Naga, and that one value point in the net will do a ton of damage, but the Chain Frost is there, and ow, that does a lot of damage. Crystal Maiden there with the ultimate, but she's going to go down. 1-for-1 trade. And overall, that's a small win for Cloud9. Not really a win for anyone, though, as it's going to be pretty much even overall. But now that's going to be translating to a big win for Rox.Kis, as they're able to take that middle tower. And that, so far, that evens up the towers at 1-1. Though while all this is going on, Timbersaw gets the best of it, as he was able to farm up top pretty well, and was able to do some good damage to this top tower. Timbersaw was shut down very well, and Bone7 generally doesn't give up this many kills, as he's been a fairly safe playmaker in terms of the offlane role. But he's generally safe, at least during the early laning stage, but this time he was not. Though this top tower still has not gone down, it's just outside of deny range. And that's going to be a really highly contested tower in the next few minutes, unless Cloud9 just group up and make a quick push for it. As I could see, Rox.Kis really wanting to defend that and keep the top side of their jungle safe. Ember Spirit going to jump forward, but he just doesn't have the damage at this point. The Flame Guard does keep him alive, but it just doesn't do enough damage to get someone like Timbersaw, who you really need to just burn down. Good damage going on with Timbersaw, but it's not going to be enough. Echo Slam off the mark, as the Ember Spirit was in mid-remnant. Naga Siren does pop the ultimate, but no luck in actually catching anyone, and Rox.Kis going to defend pretty heavily. Nice Searing Chains, but no way to follow up. And it's going to be Bone7 in a lot of trouble. But Mirana does kill the Lich. Weaver in a lot of trouble, but he should be okay. The Vanguard going to keep him alive. But this should be a pretty easy tier 1 for Rox.Kis. Trading the Lich for a tier 1 tower. It's a pretty big win at this point. Lich not that effective, as he only has the rank 1 of Chain Frost, which is not a huge amount of damage. And the cooldown is just ridiculous. Ember Spirit gonna jump away, and here comes Timbersaw again. Cloud9 not wanting to give up this top tower, as Ember Spirit does get a very good slot of fist, but he just doesn't have any damage. And there's the Claymore, what should be a Battle Fury. And you pretty much have to go Battle Fury on the side of Rox.Kis this game, as they need Ember Spirit with maximum damage, and they have the vacuum from Darkseer, who we haven't seen a whole lot of, but he has picked up a mech already, which is not a bad start considering he was basically completely shut out in that bottom lane. And that's the top tower going down pretty easily on the side of Cloud9. No way that Rox.Kis was going to defend it when they were just that low. Weaver in a little bit of trouble, but he's just going to run around. And he's going to run right into a set of wards. Timbersaw's there, and he gets bursted down. So much damage. He just couldn't do anything about it. And that's Cloud9 almost back in terms of kills, and they're taking a pretty big lead, considering they picked up one extra tower, and they are getting a lot more kills. Timbersaw with a Blink Dagger, going to show it off, and ouch, Treant Protector goes down quick. And that is the one reason Cloud9 love this Timbersaw pick. He just brings so much burst damage, and he's pretty survivable in terms of the off lane. He's also one of the more versatile off laners, because he can build pretty much whatever he wants, as all his damage is magic, and a bit of pure with Whirling Death. Lich going to be in a bit of trouble in the mid lane if Cloud9 wants to rotate, but it looks like they're going to continue to try and find some kills in this top lane. Arrow flies, but nowhere close, as the Darkseer is playing very safe at this point. Looks like he's going for a pipe next, and a pipe mech on Darkseer would be an incredible pickup, as that gives him amazing ability to run in a team fight. And without any real items like a mech or pipe on the side of Cloud9, and I don't see one even being built by anyone, it's going to be hard to actually take a full team fight. Excellent use of jungle here as Pylai die. Now we just try and clear it out, making sure that they can maximize their effectiveness at this point in time. Invisibility root on Ember Spirit, and I'm surprised we haven't seen a Roshan with the early medallion pick up by Weaver. They have a great lineup to do so, as they have a lot of physical damage, and they have several ways to slow Roshan down with the Frost Blast. But it's going to be a trade. Cloud9 going to take the tier 2 tower for likely the tier 1 tower on the bottom lane. Neither side looking to really defend here, because if they were going to, they would have sent someone already to at least the area where it was going to be. And this is another big win for Cloud9. Trade a tier 1 for a tier 2 pretty much all day long. The only real downside for Cloud9 is they lost both their bottom and middle tower, which makes defending Roshan incredibly difficult. Nice blink tag by the Earthshaker, but not particularly great, as Ember Spirit doesn't take that much damage. This should be an easy kill on the Earthshaker. And he does almost get away. Excellent vacuum. And I don't know what the Earthshaker was thinking, blinking in and going for the enchant totem. He was nowhere close. Looks like Lich is going to be in trouble, but the living armor saves him. The big downside to the Treant Protector, though, is the living armor is not effective against the Radiance, as that Radiance will melt through the living armor charges pretty quickly. It prevents the damage, which is nice, but it just does not last very long, and the damage block is fairly ineffective. Ember Spirit did take a hit with the arrow, but he had the double damage, and this is going down fairly quickly. I don't see any way for Cloud9 to really contest this, unless they just want to pop a song, and there they go. Song is popped, but Roshan is at a little too high health to finish him off at this point. Tree going to be in a lot of troubles. There's a Sentry Ward, and he does go down. There's a nice attempt. Mirana taking a lot of damage. They do pick up a Naga illusion if they want to use it just for scouting, but it's only a rank 1 illusion, and that's a big kind of disadvantage of Darkseer, is that second rank is huge in terms of illusion duration. Nice done, and the arrow off the mark on the Lich, but should be an easy kill on the Lich nonetheless. And Weaver takes the Aegis. Weaver going to continue forward, try to find another kill, but I don't think he's going to find anything, as the Ember Spirit picks up a kill in the mid lane, just barely surviving. And the Weaver going to rotate in, but don't think he has any way to really kill the Crystal Maiden under the tower, as she's just going to be able to teleport away. And Weaver going to be able to run back. Overall, small win for Rox.Kis as they get the Aegis, but they do get a good bit of extra experience. They picked up that 1 kill in the mid lane, but still not particularly effective, as it's really going to come down to how they use this Aegis. If they try and go for towers and ensure that Weaver picks up a Desolator, I could get behind that, and that would be a great use of the Aegis here. The problem is, I'm not sure they're going to be able to actually push these towers too effectively with the Naga illusions already out and already pretty strong. They have the Radiance online. She has a Yasha picked up as well, and the Boots of Travel, so she can just teleport to all these lanes, throw out a set of illusions like she's doing now, and farm up the entire jungle and push the mid lane at the same time. The hard part here is getting through these towers on the side of Cloud9. The living armor just heals them back up so incredibly well, and it prevents a lot of this just casual minion damage. But they're gonna try anyways, and this tower takes a fair bit of damage. Though I don't think we're gonna see an engagement anytime out of Cloud9, unless they just find a good pickoff, as they don't want to fight into an Aegis. Weaver's very close to the Desolator, just picked up both Mithril Hammers, and just off the mark of a block in there by the Earthshaker. Arrow does fly, but not really studs, and Weaver takes a good bit of damage, but he should be just fine. He doesn't have enough mana for the time lapses. That's pretty annoying, the early levels, how it actually costs mana. But I don't think he's too worried about it at this point in time. Ember Spirit not able to really push out this top lane, as those Naga illusions do a lot more damage than he does. The Flame Guard does do good damage, but it's just nothing compared to those Naga illusions, as it just does not match up particularly well. Cloud9 going for the pickoff. Smoke has been used on the Earthshaker, and they're going to run right into the Lich, take their free kill, and go home. Ember Spirit, he doesn't have a clone at this point, and that could lead to his downfall. Nice use of the Echo Slam, and unless he gets a clone out real quick, he's going to be in trouble. He does try to get one, but remember, the clones burn trees. And he's going to be going down. Excellent play by Cloud9. And that's something you can't do on the side of Ember Spirit. Is got run out that deep without at least one of the Fire Remnants back ways so that you can run away quickly. And it's going to be Treant trying to make things happen. But I don't think he can do anything here with the Ember Spirit on the sidelines. And no Lich ultimate at the moment. He is level 11 and hasn't put that second point into Chain Frost, which is really surprising at this point. That second point in Chain Frost is huge in terms of damage. And just the cooldown. 30 seconds off the cooldown is pretty massive. Weaver about to pick up his Desolator, though he had to give away that Ring of Aquila. Which is kind of annoying, as that gives him a lot less armor and mana regeneration for these engagements. But the Desolator is definitely worth it at this point in time. Arrow off the mark, as it was going for Weaver, and more or less a scouting arrow at this point. Darkseer has forgone going for the pipe, which I thought would have been an excellent item for this game. Likely going to be going for either a Shiva's or Hex. I think both would be pretty valid items. It looks like they are going to catch out Timbersaw, who had no business being that far. And there is no way you could be that close on Timbersaw. You can get pretty close on him, but you just can't go that deep. Middle tower under a bit of trouble as the Naga army is attacking and doing a massive amount of damage. All of Rox.Kis have rotated in, but they can't do anything to stop it. All those illusions just way too powerful. She has the mana style online, so that she can just summon a massive illusion army and be incredibly annoying. Naga Siren has taken a huge net worth advantage, and it looks like we are going to have a bit of an engagement as Earthshaker in a bit of trouble, but should be able to get away. Nice fissure blocks the Weaver in. Earthspirit going to come forward, but not enough damage. Less than 30 HP. Good attempts by Rox.Kis, but even better play by the Earthshaker and Mirana. And that's just something Rox.Kis can't deal with. They don't have that many leaps, and they don't have any invisibility detection. Though it's really hard to have any of that, especially on character running away. They have some dust on the Lich, but I don't think Lich is going to live long enough to really get it off. As in the last few fights, he's been focused pretty hard and burned down before getting a whole lot done. Really love to see that something like the Ember Spirit, so we could just jump in there and pop it. Same thing with the tree, as the tree is one of the more survivable characters in the game and can basically make good use of it. Mirana has popped Invisibility Rune and is rotating around with the Naga, being incredibly annoying overall. Question is, will we actually see an engagement? Not sure Weaver was spotted out, but we'll have to see as time progresses. And where is he going? He looks like he wants to get that courier and does pick it off. Excellent play by the Weaver. Really cheeky play. And they definitely saw it rotating in with that Observer Ward. Tree Protector is scouted out, but will be pretty useless against the Naga Siren overall. But Naga Siren does pop the song. Arrow goes and hits right on the Weaver, but Weaver not survivable at all. An easy kill. And this Weaver just not having a great effect this game. He's the highest net worth for Rox.Kis, but he doesn't feel like it. As the Vanguard, the Ring of Aquility, which has been sold or is on the courier at the moment, and the Medallion of Courage don't lead to a whole lot in terms of actual damage and survivability. They're good, but they're all about mid-game. They're not about this late game when you already have a Naga with Radiance and Illusions, or the magic damage of Mirana, and it looks like Crystal Maiden gonna go down and lose a gem. She could not have had that gem for more than about 30 seconds. As this is just not looking good. As the Lich really is needed for this base defense. The extra armor from Frost Armor and the Frost Blast really help against the Illusions. Battle Fury does do good work against the Illusions, but it's one of those, it's just not enough at the moment. Ember Spirit going for the multi-Battle Fury build. Really going to rely on the Darkseer to set it up, and a good Darkseer vacuum into the full combo is going to be pretty amazing. The question is it going to be enough to actually turn this around on the side of Rox.Kis? And I'm not sure it's going to be. Earthshaker has picked up the Blink Dagger. wouldn't surprise me if he went for Veil or Aghanims at this point. And there's a big turnaround item, as the Weaver does try to get in there. As the Darkseer has finished off the Scythe of Ice. It's a pretty big item at this point. And the question is, will it get to any effect? Something I haven't talked about, though, is the tree has picked up a Hand of Midas, which is pretty late, but not a terrible item on him, as he really doesn't need any stats, and the only thing he actually needs in terms of items is a Blink Dagger. He doesn't get that much from stats. Heaven's Halberd would be nice, but that's not critical item here. And right now, look at that gold lead from Cloud9. It's absolutely huge. Same thing with experience, all thanks to the Naga Siren just being massively far ahead of everyone else. Mirana is doing a good job as well of staying pretty far ahead of the Rox.Kis team, but she's just not super effective at this point. She has the mana style. Wouldn't surprise me for her to pick up a Desolator next. That's generally where you want to go. It'll help out all the illusions. You walk up, you fire one hit with the Mirana just to get the minus armor, then let the illusions wail on the tower. And they could easily slow siege pretty much anywhere on the map at this point. Radiant's Courier has respawned, and looks like it did have the final components of the Bloodstone for Timbersaw. But whoop-de-doo on that. And I like this pickup coming out of the Earthshaker. Gives him another way to initiate, and without a gem, Rox.Kis aren't going to be able to see him at all. Surprised it wasn't more damage, but it's a good way to get in there and deal some extra damage with the Enchant Totem. Ember Spirit gonna get caught out. Nice use of the song. Arrow flies on the money. Ember Spirit gonna go down. No chance he survives this. He almost got away, but he didn't have a Remnant out in a good spot. And you can't go out that far without a Remnant. It's one of those things as Ember Spirit. You have to just kind of throw a Remnant, go away for 40 seconds, jump back. That's just kind of how you have to play the character. And this is just not Rox.Kis' character at the moment. They definitely need to practice on him, as he's been called out way too many times for an Ember Spirit. He's 3-3-3, so he's doing well, and does great in the team fights. Just his ability to split push is nothing, and Lich just melts. I don't think he's picked up a point of experience in the last 10 minutes, as he's been stuck on level 11 for forever, it feels like. Melee barracks getting fairly low as Cloud9 just continues to dominate with this Naga Siren, and there's a Shadow Blade onto the Treant Protector, taking a chunk of his health down. Tree does have a Blink Dagger, but how effective is a Blink Dagger when you don't have your Ember Spirit up and Weaver's pretty weak? He doesn't have the health to do a whole lot. He can't really find pickoffs. Dust is used, but immediately broken thanks to the Weaver. Checking for that double back, which a lot of teams have done. They take a Rax, they pop a smoke, and then come right back in to try and take a good team fight. And this will be the lane of Rax. As soon as these illusions come up, yeah. This should be a pretty easy Rax. And there's Weaver going down. Easy kill, but Treant Protector stunned perfectly as he jumps in with a Blink Dagger. Gets the overgrowth off, but way too late. Timbersaw does go down as the Weaver buys back, but whoop-de-doo at this point. Mirana in a lot of trouble. As she is sheeped up, she is invisible. And the illusion is not providing favorably for her. She does get trapped in the corner. Earthshaker, not enough mana to want to jump in, but overall, win by Cloud9. You take a set of racks. Doesn't matter what you lose, especially if the enemy team can't get anything really off of it. They killed the Mirana. They killed the Timbersaw. Whoop-de-doo. That's about the best you could say on the side of Rox.Kis at this point. You took a few kills, but that doesn't mean anything when you're down a lane of racks. And this means Cloud9 likely to just group up, either go for Roshan or head for that top tower right away. Roshan's been up for a while, and I'm surprised Rox.Kis hasn't at least made an attempt at it, as they do have the dire side advantage and had some opportunities. They just actually haven't been able to take them. That's his second battlefield completed by Ember Spirit, and this is where he's going to have to make his stand. We have not seen a good Darkseer vacuum yet, and it's a pretty powerful ability, but it just hasn't been used while the Ember Spirit's been alive. Ember Spirit always kind of coming a little late to the party, as he got picked off in the last engagement, and some of the others he's just kind of been on the side a little too far. Ember Spirit's not an easy character to play, even though some of these pros do make it look like it, as he just seems to just spam the Sleight of Fist, but it's not that easy. It's really hard to get positioned and to be able to get everyone hit with a Sleight of Fist and not get picked off, and it's showing this game as Rox.Kis has had their Ember Spirit picked off just one too many times. Naga Siren pops the song, and this is going to be another easy death on the Ember Spirit, and Ember Spirit picked off yet again. Score isn't showing it, but he's been the real reason Rox.Kis is down so far, and Crystal Maden there to seal the team fight, and that should be a good game. Naga Siren too strong, and that's the GG coming out. Easily done by Cloud9. Rox.Kis put up a good fight, but they just could not deal with the Naga Siren's silly farm in the end. Pretty much tripling the Ember Spirit at this point. She was worth almost as much as all three of the cores from Rox.Kis, and that's just something you can't have happen. I expect the next game to see a ban out on either the Earthshaker or the Naga Siren, as they were just way too strong in the game. Welcome everyone to the Keys of the Game, where we watch some of the highlights and big turning points in the game we just watched. The first key to the game comes in as we watch Pylai die playing the Earthshaker. He's going to use a perfect fissure block, which ensures that the melee creeps will run right up into the Ancients. He's going to do this 9-10 times over the course of the game, and it becomes an incredible hindrance to the mid lane as Ember Spirit doesn't get anything off of these creep waves. It gets completely denied, and it's just an absolute miserable experience. The Lich and Ember Spirit try and stop this, but it's really hard to just run into the enemy team's Ancients and really get anything off, so it becomes an incredibly powerful tool for Cloud9 over the course of this game. The next key to the game comes in right as Cloud9 are going for Roshan. Naga, like she's done several times this game, pops to sleep and immediately kills solo. The Ember Spirit just has no chance, and this leads to just a terrible engagement. There is nothing that Rox.Kis can do in this engagement. They do a good job of trying to fight back, but they were just completely outclassed at this point. And considering Naga has an amazing net worth, it just ends the game right then and there. Beautifully played by Cloud9, and that is the biggest key to the game, is that engagement and how well Naga split pushed the entire game. Thank you for watching this Gamecast by Pander. If you wish to see more, please check out my YouTube and Twitch links below. Thank you again for watching.